You might be sitting here thinking, man, I just want to get this year over and done with. I'm tired. But this is the last sprint, right? This is the last 100 meters of like where you can use that momentum into 2025. In this episode, we're asking the question, are you happy with your 2024? And really challenging builders to reflect, reframe, and set bold visions for 2025. With competitors pulling back, now is the time to evolve, lean into trust, and make those small daily improvements that set you apart. Get ready to think big and take your 2025 to the next level.
Gunay, are you happy with 2024?
That is the question. And I'm excited to talk about this episode. But before we get into it, I'm excited to be on this episode because we haven't been on a episode for a while.
It's been a couple months.
Yeah, why is that?
Because we've been busy with many builders' stories all across Australia.
Yeah, because we traveled to Adelaide, Melbourne. We've had Perth. Perth. We had plenty of our builder clients come up for episodes. We have published a few of them, but there's quite a lot.
Quite a few. And then
coming up
with some architects as well,
Yep.
especially with those builders working with architects to get some more insight from them as well.
Yeah. So the lineup of podcasts that we're about to publish in the next few months is pretty exciting. And yeah, I guess just getting on top of it from our point of view and getting them done so that our builder audience get the most value out of them. We've had some great feedback, which is always good. Would love to, if you love this podcast, definitely, shoot us an email and do some reviews on Apple and Spotify and all those things. But I'm excited about this episode because we get to be on it. I've been a bit almost like jealous of all our clients being on it and builders being on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
fantastic,
I guess what's the purpose of today's episode?
I think the big purpose today is to prompt builders to stop, to think, to reevaluate this year, and learn from what, make them think basically, and then take this into the next year.
Yeah, exactly.
It's quite jam-packed today though, because we've got some really good points.
Yeah, we've got a lot of good points because we talk to a lot of builders. We're seeing, the ones that are really maybe struggling. We are looking at the builders that are going to that next level at the moment. So we're seeing both sides of this, the scale in a way, and also all the different areas in Australia with different markets and everything else like that.
Yeah.
But what do you find, what are some of the biggest problems that you find builders have when you talk to them at the moment?
Yeah, so I guess to give some context, the builders that we've been talking to, there's some builders that are like, man, it's been an amazing year. Then there's builders that have been going through some growth in different directions. And so the biggest thing that we're finding at the moment is, one, either they're tired from a big year. The second thing is where everything's on at the moment with interest rates and with builders with their contracts and things being very delayed and so on. A big thing that we're finding is that some builders are kind of retracting. They are
pulling back in a way.
Pulling back a little bit. And it's kind of, it's kind of good in a way because if you're looking at your, if you're cleaning your house sometimes or a room or your garage or something, sometimes it's good to remove things to clean up so that you're ready for the next season.
Yeah.
But a big thing that we've been finding is that builders are cutting things, whether it's some staff in the business, whether it's marketing, whether it's sales, it's in different components.
Yeah. And I think another thing as well that maybe just on the positive side to inspire some of our builders is that, look, there's a lot of pulling back at the moment. Okay. There's a lot of builders pulling back and you've got to remember that this is your opportunity, right? So while competitors are pulling back right now it's time for you to grab that market share, especially in 2025, and I guess another problem, especially with the pulling back, is that people really struggle to trust builders, right? It's this massive undertaking if they want to renovate their home or build a new home or whatever, right? So again, there's this lack of trust in the industry. People don't trust builders or they find it hard to trust builders. Right now, we see builders almost complaining about this, But if I look at our top 1%ers, right, of builders, they are loving this moment because it's an opportunity for them to create trust in the marketplace and be seen as trusted builders. Because again, the market, they need trusted builders more than ever. And if you can create that trust in your marketplace, you're golden. All right. So yeah, I guess a lot of these problems that we're talking about, there's always opportunity. That's the way, I don't know, personally, I like to, think about things, and our team as well. But yeah, so I guess getting back to what you just said, like what are you feeling builders are like cutting and so on, like when you talk to them?
Yeah. So, I mean, a big thing is that some builders are cutting the right things, because you do need to lean up sometimes with your business and to really look at what's working and what's not working. But
so are they cutting from like a cost point of view?
Yeah. Cost point of view. Also, maybe they've just, over COVID years, they've just grown so much because there was just so much going on that now they realize, oh my word, like I've got like this massive staff count, for example.
Right. So when COVID came, heaps of work came along with it.
Yep.
They had to like scale up their business in
That's
terms
right.
of team, infrastructure, all those things.
That's right.
Yep.
So there's that thing. And I think what we're realizing, having conversations with a lot of builders, there's some that might be cutting maybe just too much or the wrong things.
Yeah.
So I think it's very, very, very important to make sure you're cutting the right things.
Yeah.
If you are leaning up.
I mean, it's easy, right? So whenever we have our quarterlies with our accountant, we have a look at the profit and loss.
Yeah.
You and I, we always go like to the expenses, and we're like line by line. We're like,
Yeah.
what can we cut?
Yeah.
Right? Not that we necessarily need to cut anything, but we're like, man, what are we doing that is not needed, right? I can't think of any great examples at the moment, but every time we've got a good accountant, so he goes, don't worry about these things, right? Like, look at the opportunity, like how can we increase? Okay. But like, yeah, I mean, if you're in that situation where you need to cut, you're going to look line by line, and it's going to be very logical. And you're like, oh, this here, like our staff count, that's a huge expense. We've got to cut there. But I think a good analogy I have, right, because I like cycling, and there's this particular hill that we have in the hinterland called Springbrook. And it's this hill that I've been riding since like 2010. And it's like a 7.5K like climb. And it's always been my dream to like get faster on that hill, to bring my personal record down on Strava, because you can see like what's the segment. Okay. And, the best way to like think about it is like, to get a personal record, it means I've got to go faster up that hill. And there's a few ways I can get faster. There's like aerodynamics and all those things. But when you've got those things, like we've got the good bike, you've got like the aero position and all that, that's as fast as you can go with that position. The next thing you need to do is you need to either get stronger and or leaner. You need to like lose weight. Okay. But the problem is that you need to lose the right weight. Okay. And not the wrong weight. So what that means is like you've got to cut the fat. I've got to lose fat. I've got to lose a few kilograms of fat and not cut my muscle. Now the problem I see with a lot of builders is they'll go and cut their leg off, and then you're not even going to get up the hill, right? So that's an extreme example, but in reality is I need to lose a few kilograms of fat, try and keep my muscle, because I need to be strong going up that hill. If I lose my muscle, yes, I might become lighter.
Yes.
But I'm not going to go faster because I've just counteracted that with the muscle that I've lost. And that's the same in business, right? So some people might go, all right, well, I've got a BDM, it's a huge cost to my business. I'm going to cut that one off. That's not cutting your leg off, right? I'm going to cut off marketing, right? Because that's a huge expense. You cut that off, that you're cutting off 2 arms, right? So you're not... It's not going to help you in the future, right? Cutting the BDM, now you've lost that sales side of things. Cutting your marketing, now people don't know about you. How are you going to do business, right? Those are just 2 quick examples that I kind of thought about.
Yeah, I think that's such a powerful one, because going up that hill, man, like you need more muscle actually. So you need to increase in certain areas because your legs need to be so strong to go up. And it's such a good analogy or example.
I mean, a good example of things to cut is like from business class tickets to like economy, right?
Yeah.
It's still going to get you there. You're not going to,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
that's just like one example. I know builders don't travel much, but in terms of like expenses and costs, like, you know what I mean? So
That's right. That's right. So what would you say, like, I know we've got 3 big points today that we're going to dive into. And these are 3 things that we've accumulated from all the conversations that we've had, a lot of our own experience as well, in what work, because we're also running a business here, and yes, we might be different to builders, but we live in this building industry. And a lot of the business side of things we're also going through, because it's a whole world thing at the moment. So I guess from your perspective, hit us off with the first point.
yeah, I mean, it comes back down to vision, right? I was listening to a podcast with Grant Cardone the other day. It was him on stage at some like 10X conference or something, and it was like a replay. And I thought this was really good. He said, look, you're either defending or you're growing, right? So defending means like you're always kind of like scared. You're always anxious about what's going to happen here, here. And when you're in that state of mind, like you can't think big, you can't think vision, and you don't think in terms of winning. You're literally just defending the whole time. So yeah, I guess the first point is like evolving your vision for 2025. Now we're sitting here, it's November 6th today. You might be sitting here thinking, man, I just want to get this year over and done with. I'm tired, right? But this is the last sprint, right? This is the last 100 meters of like where you can go hard and use that momentum into 2025. But yeah, you got to get clear on your vision. What would you say to like builders to think like that?
Yeah. Well, think about it this way. Let's go back a year. Okay, let's go to the start of January when you and say your wife or the other director sat down and set the vision for the year. You had all these big goals and everything. And now fast tracking back 10 months later, 11 nearly, you're going, well, have we actually reached it? Some probably have reached it and probably over succeeded, but some probably go, man, like that was tough. It did not go the way we wanted to. And a lot of times that little moment there can kind of throw in a bit of disbelief and make you feel like, man, like, where are we going with this? And I think sometimes in business, you've got to realize that when you set goals, you might not reach them, but don't fall into disbelief and lose that hope, where you look back at it now. What you can do right now is to realize what season we're in as a business, as an industry and everything. And then kind of go, cool, okay, I learned a lot this year. What can I take from that for next year? So bringing it back to your vision point, where you're setting vision. I think this is a really, really, really good time for you to sit back and just allow yourself to dream a bit.
Yeah.
To be creative, to think a little bit different.
Yeah. And I mean, by you saying like sit back, it doesn't mean like retract right now.
No.
Again, it's like finish strong.
Yes.
But at the same time, have front in mind, like,
yes,
after this podcast, when you get to like wherever you're driving right now, or how you're listening to this, it's like take a few minutes, grab a coffee or whatever and just sit and just dream a little bit, right? It's so easy to get into the weeds every single day. We see so many builders and this happens to us a lot, right?
100%.
I guess the reason why we're doing this episode is because we got into the weeds big time the last few weeks with a few things we had to deal with. And man, as soon as you get into those weeds, like you can't dream.
No.
It blinds you, man. Yeah.
But then also you feel like, why am I jumping into the weeds now? What's happening and stuff? But sometimes that happens in the business.
Yeah, you got to do it sometimes.
You have to. And sometimes it's so good to get into the weeds because you're getting back in there where you can really bring out the opportunity from it and better things and so on. Yeah. Which we'll get to in a second with that point. But a massive thing is, allow yourself to dream.
Yeah.
Take yourself to, and you would have had this in the past, when you started the business, when you started your building business, when you took that leap, you were dreaming, you were inspired. Get yourself, even if it's one day a week, get yourself in an inspired state where you're thinking about ideas, thinking about what would I love in the future. And it's not just numbers, it's not just profit, it's not just that, it's vision, it is everything from the company you're building, the team that you're building.
And really what's going to excite you.
Exactly.
Where you're like, man, I'm getting out of bed. I'm pumped. Let's get out. Let's go. Yeah, that's a huge one, right? And I think a big thing is like we always challenge our clients with this, right? So new clients come on board, we have the vision exercise that they've got to go through, right? We don't start anything before they've done vision exercise.
100%.
And then it leads to story development and so on. And the same goes for clients that, you know, the second year, third year, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh year with us, they go through evolving your vision, right? Because you'll do your vision. You might have done your vision like early this year or late last year for 2024, and you got excited, and then you get into the weeds and all that kind of stuff. The year goes on. You might have had some good wins, a lot of problems, all those kind of things. And look, it's time to evolve your vision again. So
That's it.
Yeah.
It's powerful, and that's something that we've seen time and time again. We had a client up here from Melbourne a few weeks ago, and they went through the whole vision exercise and then sat down with the team, and they were like starstruck of how involved the team got, and how excited they are for the future. That when they came up here, we sat with them and went through the whole story development phase with them, and they were just so excited.
Is this a new client or?
Yeah. So we've started the whole journey of telling their story, and now getting that all out to the right people that they love working with.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah,
That's good. That's always exciting because, and I love getting like selfie photos from our clients of them doing the exercise and how pumped they all get.
That's it.
It changes the direction of their business, especially that year, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And it's simple sometimes. It's just like, what do you love? And it might be you riding, like I know Cornet loves to ride a bike, and he goes and he thinks on the bike. You know, for me, it's like whether I go play golf or hit the gym or even go have a swim in the ocean, or even just go to a nice coffee shop or restaurant, and you sit down with your other half, whether it's your wife, your partner or whatever, in the business, and you just prompt each other. You just dream. It's not to say that you're going to be doing those dreams and those things. You're going to take that on, but it's a matter of just prompting each other, just to think outside of the box for a little bit.
Yeah, exactly, man. Like it, and that's the thing. It's going to be different for everyone in terms of like that kind of like happy place, and where they get into a state of, man, like I'm inspired. Yeah, I think a big one for me is like, when I'm riding out in nature and stuff, and all you can focus on is like ahead of you. So you can't really do much. And then I'm listening to like some inspiring podcast or something. And then, you know, after that podcast, I just put it off and I just get to think and dream. Because we're so busy every day, there's so many distractions. And, you know, as soon as you get to the office, there's like 5 questions coming at you. Then you got to check your email and Slack, and this is like, it's all happening, right? So you've got to put yourself in that kind of space, even if it's just you driving, even if it's, you finding yourself something like cycling or walking or going to swim or something where, again, you can't touch your phone. Like, man, the phone is like a vision breaker, I reckon.
Yeah, and that's it. You need your subconscious to kick in.
Yeah.
It's when you're just so relaxed that's when you start going into the right brain. And then that's when you start thinking creatively.
Yeah.
So, and I can understand builders, it's in November, people like, there's a lot of handovers happening, getting ready for Christmas with their clients and so on.
People want their pool, their reno, everything done by Christmas.
Yeah.
I get that.
But make that moment, even if it's just once a week for 2-3 hours in the morning, where you just go and enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
Like, we're giving you permission in a way.
Yeah, that's good. All right, let's go to the next
point.
Yeah, next point. What is it?
So, you know, the biggest thing is, if you look at it, like, I've got a quote here. Vincent van Gogh, one of the most famous artists of our time, like he once said, great things are done by a series of small things brought together.
Yeah.
So it's coming back to that thing of the 1%ers.
Yeah.
In this season that we're in right now, is going, you know what, if I can better 1% in each section of my business, all the way from marketing, sales, delivery, clients, interaction, finance, everything. What's that going to be next year?
Yeah, I think the thing is, like, again, we've been brought up in this culture of like instant gratification. We want the full thing, the finish. We want to basically not even have to start the race. We just want to finish the race, just get it done, right? And we forget about like, look, this is a journey, and it is like these 1%ers, right? How can I increase 1% in all these different areas, increase 1% every single day? Because it compounds, it all comes together. So, yeah, I think that's a big one. We shouldn't forget that. And look, Vincent McGo is definitely right. But I think the thing is, too many builders are trying to make these big, massive changes, and it kind of like stops them because they see this big project that they need to do. I'm not talking about building project, like it's a project within their business, like some sort of initiative. Let's say starting to reach out to architects. We're going to, plan all this, like how we're going to reach out to the architects. We're going to create like these pamphlets. We're going to, create all these things, and it's this huge project. So they start planning it, so they start doing it, and then things come up in the business, right? Everyday kind of things, operations, things like this, and that project goes on halt. Even though you've done heaps in that project, you haven't actually had any output, right? So instead of, what's an example of a 1%er there? It's you Googling 3 architects near you, pick up the phone and call them. That's a 1%er, and it's done. You can do the whole big project and think about it, plan it, all that stuff, but it's about making small incremental,
Yeah. Like, and that's the other thing is like, you're looking at right now in the circumstances, maybe within your business, and you're like, maybe you didn't hit 100% the goals that you wanted to. And now you're like, man, I just want to make these massive changes in my business. I want to go do this and do that and do that. But sometimes like it's better not to make these massive changes. It's just to go, look, cool. How can I increment just 1% there?
Yeah.
How can I just increase it by 1% there?
Yeah.
And that then accumulates, like Vincent van Gogh says, that the accumulation of all those 1%ers is what is going to form what is to come in a year or 2 years' time.
Yeah, exactly. And I think if I bring this back down to like how we help our clients, to some builders out there they look at this thing of like how BizVideo helps their clients. It's this huge undertaking. It's this huge project. But that is how we've learned. We're like, builders are so busy, right? They've got to deal with so many different things every single day. All right. And this is the same thing you can start thinking about, like you as a builder in terms of your clients.
Yes.
Right.
Correct.
They look at this renovation as this huge, huge thing. Right. So that's what builders, think, especially before they come to us. They go, oh man, marketing my business and creating my story and creating all the automations and the landing pages and all the emails and this and, and all the organic social media and like all this content, like it's this huge undertaking. I'm not going to go into that because I've got to deal with all these other things, right? So what we've done is we identified that many, many years ago, and we broke the whole thing down into little bite-sized things that our clients need to go through. And we also took a lot of those things away from what the clients, needed to do back in the day, but we are doing it. So that our clients only need to have 1, 2, 3, 4 little inputs here and there, and then the whole thing is done. Again, that's what business is all about, right? It's solving problems. It's about making your customers' lives easier because their lives are already busy, their businesses are busy, all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of like, again, how we've thought about in terms of how to make it little 1%ers for our clients instead of this huge, big 100% project.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so how would you say could a builder listening to this take this to their clients to make that like the 1%ers and make that process easier for them?
Look, what's the best way to eat an elephant?
A bite
At a time. Right?
Yeah.
So again, it's like, how do you break it down to your clients? Look, before we hand over, there's a lot of things that need to happen, right? You got to build a thing. But before you can even build it, there's a lot of things that are going to happen. The very first step is a chat where we get clear on your vision, all right? And then there's going to be the next one and the next one. It's little 1%ers, and that brings together the whole thing.
That's right. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay. Are you good with that one? Move to the next topic?
Yeah, I reckon.
Yeah, let's do it. So what's the next one, Kunai? This is our third takeaway, 3 out of 3.
Yeah.
The last one, run us with it. What is it?
So if you want to grow in 2025, you need to increase the amount of contact you have in the market. Okay, so remember, your biggest competition as a builder is not the competition, like the competitor builder down the road, right? That's not your biggest competition. Your biggest competition is obscurity. So this means that people don't know about you and they are not emotionally connected with you. Okay, that's the biggest competition out there. If people don't know about you and your business, you can't build for them. It's as easy as that. All right. Then the next competitor is the builder down the street. right? And that's a different topic for another day. That's where you've got to build massive trust, massive emotional connection, and be that standout builder, the one. So many of our clients come to us, they're like, man, these stories and everything being out there, putting it in front of our ideal clients are emotionally connecting with us. They come to us saying, look, I want you to build for us, no one else, right? Because it's just that perfect match. And I've got a lot of examples like that of vendors and people that I use, right, in different industry. Like, for example, the guy that did my bike fit, I can't go to any other bike fit guy except for this particular one. I can't trust anyone else because this guy's built so much trust. We'll do an episode on that another day. But you've got to get to that stage where you just, you are the one builder. Okay. But again, we're talking about obscurity here.
But it takes the last point we did on the 1%ers, and that's the same thing with when you're building that relationship with a client nowadays. Like it's a 1%er here, the touch point here. Maybe they inquire, and then it's cool. Well, maybe you meet them on site and you start talking about the vision and stuff, and then they maybe go a little bit quiet, but then it's touching base, calling them, bringing value to them. Hey, client, we caught up the other day and I've just been thinking about it. And last night, I was just I had this idea about that little spot on your property that we can potentially look at doing it this way.
Yeah.
And so you're coming with value every time. You're touching base, whether you're sending selfies, whether you're sending emails, it's always bringing value in those 1%ers.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it comes back down to the first topic that we spoke about today is how clear are you in your vision, and are you inspired?
Yes.
Are you in a defense mode the whole time?
Yes.
If you're in defense mode all the time, how are you going to follow up with passion and inspiration?
Yes.
So that you can bring more value to the potential client and again, get them inspired.
Yes.
Okay. How are you going to do that if you're not yourself inspired? And I was listening to, again, that same Grant Cardone podcast that I spoke to you about before. He says, one thing you have to do, and this is for every business, is you have to significantly increase the number of contacts made, all right, out to the marketplace, to potential clients, to potential referral partners, all right? You have to increase it. If you can get 100 people to see you, that's way better than 10. If you can get 1,000 people to become aware of you, that's better than 100. All right. Now think in terms of hundreds of thousands every month. All right. That's how you have to start think. All right. Again, you need to dominate your competition. And who's your competition? Obscurity, number one. If people don't know about your business, you can't build for them. All right. So dominate that competition first. That's definitely one massive takeaway that I got listening to him there. Yeah.
And what does that ultimately do when you ultimately get yourself out there and you're doing these touch points, you're following up, but you're following up with value and giving them good stuff? What does that then allow?
Man, it does a lot of things. It gets the people that you need to become aware of you, number one, those your ideal clients. All right. And then B, it starts building massive trust, right? They go, man, this business is alive.
And they'll show up.
They're not retracting.
Yeah.
They are showing up
Yes.
online. They're showing up architects talk about them, right? So, if someone becomes aware of you, doesn't matter how, could be a site signage. We've got a lot of clients that, they get projects from their site signage because it's people in the neighborhood.
In the street.
They might scan their QR code. It pops up their business story video that we've created for them. Now they've been on this website, so next time the potential client goes on Facebook and Instagram, they start seeing their ads, for a week, 2-3 weeks. Then the potential client opts in for their ebook or requests a consult request. Then it goes into the CRM. It starts sending them value emails. It starts nurturing them because the project might not happen for another 6 months, a year, 2, 3, 4 years. So this potential client is seeing them on Facebook and Instagram the whole time. Getting emails from them. Every time they go on Instagram and Facebook, they can see the organic side of things happening, right? So you can see how everything plays together. I've just lost my train of thought because I've just gone real deep there.
But that's just it's once again coming back to that thing of the 1%ers across the whole board, and then showing up, getting yourself out of obscurity, showing people that you are there.
Yeah.
You are ready. You're going to make a change in their life. You're going to impact them with a beautiful family home or renovation or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's what people are looking for. Architects are looking for that. They are wanting to be able to refer to builders that they know will make their brand look good. And that's what you want to do. You want to look after your clients, but you want to look after the people that refer you, or even the architects.
Yeah.
So
And I mean, we do a lot for our builders, right? So on the checklist of marketing, right? So I love, like, there's a lot of like people out there like teaching people like builders about marketing and stuff, and they make this checklist, which is pretty funny. Anyway, we tick off a lot of those items for our clients, but there's always more that our clients can do. And that is like network, build relationships with, you know, all different vendors, not just architects, real estate agents, buyers agents, mortgage brokers, accountants, lawyers, who does like, you know, all the transactions for like real estate. Like, think in terms of like, who do you need to network with, right?
Yes.
That's just one keyword there, networking, right? So what 1%ers can you do there? Can I reach out, or can I build my network with one person every single week? Can I take one person out for a coffee, right? What's another 1%er? It could be, okay, cool, site signage. Let's make sure there's a QR code on there. Right, people do scan it. Like, man, QR codes, people do scan it.
They do. Yeah.
What else? Like, what other 1%ers can you do? Again, like, this video is doing a fair bit, like for our clients.
From a marketing perspective.
Yeah, it's doing a fair bit. There's like emails, there's stories, like everything's happening, right? But what else can you do?
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's kind of throwing it back to that first point of like vision, dreaming, thinking outside the box. Like, think about those things, because this is where you'll come up with ideas of how you can better show up in front of people. Networking. Make 2025 your best year of adding value with everyone around you.
Yeah.
And the repayment of that will be so big.
Yeah. And I think people are like, especially when they're tired, they are scared of thinking in terms of growth, because they think, man, I'm already tired now after a year of growth, or,
Yeah.
you know, or maybe you didn't grow. But then, yeah, I've found this many times. Like, there's so many examples out in the world that growth actually helps you. It does the opposite of you becoming tired. It gets you inspired. So yeah, really think in terms of like, how am I going to make 2025 the biggest and most exciting year yet?
That's right.
How can we help more people, and what problems can we solve?
So good, yeah. So I guess just to kind of cap off the whole podcast, like on those three different points, what would you say for the first one? What's sort of your final thought?
Evolve your vision. Start thinking about your vision for 2025 right now.
Yep.
Number 2, do the 1%ers. And number 3 is, if you want to grow in 2025, you've got to increase your contact. People need to know more about you. Get out of obscurity.
That's right. Love it. Awesome, guys. I hope this inspired you.
Yeah. And again, like, please review our podcast if you like it.
Yes.
Put a 5-star down. I don't know how the thing works with podcasts, but
Yeah.
I know a lot of people talk about it.
Yes.
If you like it, if you love it, like, reply to the emails. And also, there's heaps of awesome episodes coming out, super inspiring episodes in the next few weeks. We publish every single week. So, yeah.
Fantastic.
Stay tuned.
Thanks, Guno. Thanks,
Cheers,
guys.
bro.
Go smash it.